All right. Apple has announced that they're updating iOS, the operating system for iPhones and iPads, to block a law enforcement tool that allows cracking of iOS devices. I'm quoting right now from The Verge, but a whole bunch of people are talking about this story. The Verge talks about it. This is a new feature of iOS will protect against gray key phone cracking tool. And the reason I wanted to bring this up here is not so much because Apple's the most important company to talk about, but because this cracking tool is actually pretty interesting. And I kind of want to talk about it briefly here. But first, I want to talk about this story as it was broken from Reuters, and then we'll get into the cracking tool. This is a quote from Reuters. The company told Reuters it was aiming to protect all customers, especially in countries where phones are readily obtained by police or by criminals with extensive resources, and to head off further spread of the attack technique. The privacy standard bearer of the tech industry said, that's right, Reuters is calling Apple the privacy standard bearer of the tech industry. I want to yell at you about that, Reuters. But I'm going to save it because this story is about something different. Come on, standard bearer, said it will change the default setting in the iPhone operating system to cut off communication through the USB port when the phone has not been unlocked in the past hour. This is very important. That port is how the machines made by forensics companies like Grayshift, Celebrite, and others connect and get around the security provisions that limit how many password guesses can be made before the device freezes them out or erases data. Now they will be unable to run code on the device after that hour is up. Okay. So let's look at the device here. This is the gray key. It's a gray box. This comes from malwarebytes.com. They have a great article. If you go to malwarebytes.com, you can search for the gray key, and you'll find a really interesting write-up with pictures there. The gray key is a gray box, 4 inches wide by 4 inches deep by 2 inches tall. In a lot of ways, it looks like a little mini Nook. It's just a little tiny puck. With 2 lightning cables sticking out of the front. And that's what it looks like. So let's get into how it works. 2 iPhones can be connected at one time and are connected for about 2 minutes. After that, they are disconnected from the device but are not yet cracked. Sometime later, the phones will display a black screen with the passcode, among other information. The exact length of time varies, taking about 2 hours in the observations of our source. It can take up to 3 days or longer for 6-digit passcodes, according to Grayshift documents, and the time needed for longer passphrases is not mentioned. Even disabled phones can be unlocked, according to Grayshift. And they've got a picture there that actually shows the screenshot that shows, hey, we found the passcode. Here's the passcode. Very, very, very interesting, I thought. And here's a screenshot of the web interface of this particular device. There's a little web server that runs on this little puck, and you can connect into it. So after the device is unlocked, the full contents of the file system are downloaded to the gray key device. From there, they can be accessed through a web-based interface on a connected computer and downloaded for analysis. The full unencrypted contents of the keychain are also available for download. So, there you have it. You grab the full file system, you got all the details for it, you get it fully unlocked. It's a fascinating little device, but it works by plugging into the little USB port, the little lightning port. Now, this particular change to iOS is extremely simple, right? They're not employing any new sort of cryptography, new locking systems, or anything like that. They're simply making it so that little port becomes deactive an hour after it was last unlocked. So if you had got your phone sitting around for a couple of hours in your luggage, let's say you get out and someone gets into that phone, whether they're nefarious or law enforcement, doesn't really even matter. They plug it in, well, the port's not active. So unless they can get you to unlock the phone and reactivate the port, they're not going to be able to use that device in order to hack into that. It's an obvious way to increase the security of such portable devices, right? If it's most susceptible by getting access to the port, just turn the port off after a while. It's a simple brain dead obvious solution for something like this, and it's obviously needed. I'm not a huge Apple fan. I've made no confusion about that over the years. Not a huge Apple fan, but they're probably right to do this. It's a very simple solution to a security issue. And it is a double-edged sword, though. And most people are reporting it as Apple blocking law enforcement devices. I mean, that's the headlines. I mean, even websites that tend to err on the side of being hostile towards police or law enforcement agencies are reporting it as Apple blocking law enforcement agencies. However, this is both a win and a loss for law enforcement. Yeah. It totally makes it harder for law enforcement agencies, for police departments, FBI, etc., to get data off of a phone. It makes it lots harder. It adds a whole extra element in play there where they now have to find a way to get you to unlock the phone, or they need to find a way around that, a way to reactivate those ports. So yeah, it makes it a lot harder. However, it also makes those same devices much more secure for those agencies to utilize, and for people that those agencies are trying to protect to utilize, and for average consumers like you and me to use without that information potentially being compromised and stolen by someone a little bit nefarious, which would then have to be investigated by law enforcement agencies. So it's also saving them time and money. It's a difficult conundrum. I can see why some law enforcement agencies would be upset about it. I don't necessarily think they should be, but I can understand why they are, I guess. But on the same token, it also should free up significant resources for them and make devices that people who work for them, contractors, etc., might be using significantly more secure. I really just wanted to bring this up because I found the device absolutely fascinating. And my guess is they're already hard at work, people who make such devices. There's a few companies out there of finding ways around this issue. I wonder how long until they'll do that. My guess is in the next couple of months, we'll have another box update that gets around it somehow, because that's always the way. This clip from the Lunduke Show is brought to you by makers of Lulzbot Mini and the Lulzbot Taz 3D printers. Find out more over at lulzbot.com. Subscribers to the Lunduke Show on Patreon get MP3 audio downloads with RSS podcast feed and DRM-free video downloads also with RSS feed of the full-length version of the Lunduke Show. As do members of the Linux T-Shirt of the Month Club. Every month, a surprise Linuxy T-shirt shows up at your door. This is what the last exclusive T-shirt looked like. More information on how to join at patreon.com/BrianLunduke and lunduke.com.